All right, guys. Political junkie here. So you guys might be able to tell if you guys have been watching some of my other videos. I don't have too many videos, but I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, and a lot of people they complain Warren and Sanders is the same, and I definitely do not agree with that. I mean, when it comes to foreign policy, Bernie Sanders is just way above Warren. Warren is a pretty establishment Democrat when it comes to foreign policy. Bernie Sanders, he says that he'll hold like the money hostage to funding Israel's military if they don't make like a peace deal with Gaza. And that's coming from, he's Jewish himself. He has family that lives in Israel. So that has a lot of power coming from him. This is a guy that has voted against every single war the United States has been to in like the past like 30 years. He voted against the Iraq War. He didn't believe the lies that George Bush and Dick Cheney pushed. So overall, on foreign policy, he's way better. He doesn't cave in on stuff like Medicare for all, and his policies are almost always to the left of Warren. Warren doesn't believe in eliminating all student debt. Bernie Sanders does. Warren doesn't believe in eliminating medical debt for everybody. Bernie Sanders does. And one thing Bernie Sanders has been consistent on his whole career is that he never has taken dark money. He's never taken money from super PACs. He's never taken money from billionaires. He's never taken money from corporations. His whole career has basically been small dollar donations. And if you go on Open Secrets, it says like 70% of his donations are small dollar donations. And that's because they count anything above $200 as big dollar donations. And I think that's definitely possible for somebody to donate that much and not be a big dollar donor. I mean, I see it because I'm on Reddit all the time, and if you go on r/Sanders for president, there's people there all the time that like share when they like donate a bunch of money to him. But talking about Elizabeth Warren, Politico just released an article earlier today that Dark Money and it's titled "Dark Money Group Promotes Warren in Iowa," and this is another example that Warren, she is not consistent. A lot of people, when she was running for the Senate, she took money from big corporations, I think even some super PACs, and then she then transferred that money into her presidential campaign money. So part of the money that she's raised has been from big money donors. So she's not consistent when it comes to that. And I think she's flip-flopped on it. But earlier she did say that she would be open to taking big money in the general election because she doesn't want to disarm herself against the Republicans. But if you agree that big money donations and corporate money and super PACs and stuff like that is corruptive influence, it's always corruptive influence. It doesn't matter if you're running in the primary or running in the general. You either believe it's corrupting or you believe it isn't. So Warren is just not firm when it comes to this. I wish she was better on this issue. So yeah, the title of it is Dark Money Group Promotes Warren in Iowa. A dark money group purchased an ad promoting Elizabeth Warren's presidential campaign that ran in Iowa's biggest paper this week, despite the candidate's opposition to outside big money groups. So this is her being a hypocrite. The Des Moines Register ad on Wednesday was paid for by Women Vote, a social welfare organization that does not have to reveal its donors. It boasted that, unlike most other candidates, Warren doesn't take corporate or super PAC money, and that Warren will fight for everyday Iowans. The Register did not immediately respond to a question whether the group had placed other ads previously. While Women Vote does not have to disclose its funders, a longtime Warren donor submitted paperwork to form the group in the fall 2018. According to filings with the California Secretary of State, the donor, wealthy Silicon Valley doctor Carla Jurvetson, donated over $5 million to Democratic causes in 2018. She also helped Warren's campaign pay for access to the Democratic Party's voter file earlier this year, as BuzzFeed News reported. So there's this really rich Silicon Valley doctor that's donated millions of dollars to Democratic causes because she thinks that she can buy the political process. Sure, Warren is probably better than pretty much all the Democrats running besides Bernie Sanders, but money doesn't need to play that much of a role. I can't, because right there it's proving that rich people have a higher impact on politics than regular people. I don't have $5 million that where I can just donate to Democratic causes. I donate like $2 to candidates that I like. I've donated to Bernie Sanders. And in the beginning, I donated to like Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard so they could get in the debates. I donated $1 to each of them. I've donated to Joshua for Congress, and I've donated to like Cenk Uygur, who announced he was running for Congress not that long ago. And I mean, I don't donate anything close to $5 million. Are you kidding me? In total, I've probably, because I've bought Bernie Sanders merch, so I'm probably running in like $100 when it comes to Bernie Sanders. But in total, I mean, maybe running around $200 when you count all the donations I've done. But that's just me as a regular dude. I make like $23,000 a year, so that's just me scraping by the money I have aside to politicians I think should represent the people. And it's just disappointing that Elizabeth Warren's allowed somebody with that kind of influence over the party to create a group in her support, and especially making a misleading ad. Jurvetson and Woman Vote did not respond to requests for comment. Woman Vote did not appear to purchase any Facebook ads according to Facebook's ad archive. It's unclear whether the group has run other ads in other newspapers. The Warren campaign said it did not know about the ad and asked for the people behind it to stop. Spokesperson Chris Hayden said that the campaign was not aware of this and asked that those involved immediately stop purchasing advertisements of any kind. Elizabeth Warren believes democracy is undermined by anonymous dark money attempts to influence voters, whether that influence is meant to help or hurt her candidacy. Now, I don't know if that's the campaign saving face or if they're being legitimate that they didn't know. I mean, my guess is they had to have known that the ad was going up, and then once people started paying attention to it and it's, Twitter starts going off and all that, they had to make a response like that to make it seem like they were innocent. Warren has sworn off private fundraisers during her presidential campaign and has used that pledge to try and reinforce her central campaign and themes of fighting Washington corruption and the influence of money. Faced with financial challenges, other candidates, including former Vice President Joe Biden and former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, have signaled they would not oppose an outside super PAC group helping their candidacies. So yeah, that's true. Joe Biden, he had horrible grassroots support, and in the past he said, "How can you trust somebody that takes super PAC money?" But now he has a super PAC because that's the main way he can actually still have his candidacy rolling. So this is in quotation marks. 501c4s like Woman Vote are often referred to as dark money groups because they are used to influence elections while keeping wealthy donors hidden from the public, said Brenda Fisher, the director of federal reform at the Campaign Legal Center. The ad touts Warren's stated opposition to super PACs, but super PACs at least disclose their donors. Dark money 501c4s don't, so they pose more significant problems. Okay, I don't really understand that last sentence, but anyways, because there's another sentence that I didn't read, so I'm just not gonna read it because it doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, this is really crazy because it actually seems like this is worse than super PACs, because at least super PACs have to say who their donors are, but when you do it like this, they don't even have to disclose their donors, so you have no idea who is behind that ad. And I mean, whether they wanted the ad to go out or not, it was helping their candidacy. And who do you know that's behind it? And I mean, who do you think Wall Street is more afraid of, Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren? Now, Elizabeth Warren is great on Wall Street reform, but they're definitely more afraid of Bernie Sanders. And I think they're starting to realize the race is narrowing down, and it's who would they rather have on top? Is it gonna be Warren or Sanders? And when it comes down to it, when they have to make that tough decision, they're gonna decide on having Warren over Sanders. So I think it's just something to watch out for. I think she's terrible at answering questions. If she gets asked a question about this, I feel like she's gonna answer in a horrible way. I saw an interview where they were asking her about if she would cut military spending to fund social programs, and if she believes that Palestinian people have rights. And she totally avoided the question and went to a whole nother subject. and she's kind of like, there was another part where she was in Iowa or New Hampshire, and they were asking her if she thinks, because Iowa and New Hampshire are mostly white states and they aren't reflective of the whole Democratic electorate, if they should have a more diverse way of doing the primaries. And she was like, oh, you're gonna have me criticize Iowa and New Hampshire, when in reality that was a really simple question. She could have just answered it like, because she said like, oh, I'm just a player in the game, basically saying like, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with this, I don't want to comment on it. She feels like threatened whenever they ask her hard questions, when in reality they aren't even that hard of a question. That's like a question every candidate's gotten every presidential election ever, about the role that Iowa and New Hampshire have in the primary process. I mean, an effective way she could have answered that question is like, it's true that Iowa and New Hampshire aren't reflective of the country as a whole, and we should look into maybe some reforming the way we do the Democratic primaries. But as of right now, that's the way it's going on, and we can't change it for now. But it's definitely something we should talk about. I mean, just anything. I mean, even that would have been, it's not a great answer, but it's at least a little bit better. She seemed just so dismissive. And this is why I think Warren is going to be a weaker candidate against Donald Trump than Bernie Sanders, because Warren is horrible at answering tough questions. She's kind of shady when it comes to taking big money. And 26, you can tell she plays the game of politics. In 2016, she didn't endorse Bernie Sanders when she obviously agrees with Bernie Sanders on more of the issues than Hillary Clinton. And a lot of people think, there was an article that came out that Hillary Clinton had asked Warren, or had, been kind of like making her think that she might have the possibility of being VP. So that's Hillary Clinton playing political chess, with Warren not even realizing it. Because Warren probably thinks, oh, I'm going to be Hillary Clinton's VP, and she's most likely going to win, so I'm just going to stay out of this one until the primary is over. And Hillary Clinton didn't choose her as VP, and so now all the progressives don't see her in a good light. So, I don't know, the more and more I learn about Warren, the more and more shady she becomes, the more and more wary I am of her. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are Warren supporters, or if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. I'm always happy to hear other people's opinions. Hope you guys have a good one.